Fraud. Wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. The marketing industry will spend $1.6 billion on Instagram influencers this year alone, and that shows no sign of slowing down. By 2020, global influencer spend will be between $5 and $10 billion. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how and why this industry is home to one of the biggest, most elaborate, widespread scams in the history of marketing, and why this year alone, if you've worked with influencers, the chances are you've been part of a scam that's cost you and our industry hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Earlier this year, the CMO of Unilever, Keith Weed, announced the following.
So we've made a commitment that we will not work with influencers, creators who buy followers.
This triggered a huge industry debate, and one brand after another followed suit. But there were still questions unanswered. How do you define influencer fraud? How do you identify influencer fraud? And most importantly, how do you avoid it? At Social Chain, we dedicated the last 6 months of our global resources to building an AI tool to try and solve this very complex and misunderstood challenge. The conversation always centered on influencers' follower numbers, but the follower number means nothing. Other marketeers use the engagement per post as a method of identifying how influential a creator is. Currently, this is the most common way of deciding what to pay an influencer. However, there are now hundreds of apps that allow you to buy likes, views, and for a couple of dollars you can buy and write your own comments. If you can fake it for a few dollars, it's not worth paying attention to. Forget the engagement number. 6 months ago, we set out to build an industry-first tool to protect marketeers. The purpose of this tool is to identify how much of an influencer's engagement is real and how much of it is being faked. We call this their true engagement. What we discovered was deeply, deeply disturbing. In simple terms, the tool collects data from all of the largest engagement bot farms. It builds a database of tens of millions of fake profiles that these apps use to fake engagement. It then simultaneously scans hundreds of thousands of influencers to see which influencers are getting engagement from these apps. When it identifies suspicious activity, it produces an engagement graph for that influencer and uses AI technology to benchmark their engagement over time against real organic engagement graphs. It understands what paid promotion looks like, shout-outs, and other known algorithmic factors. This is how engagement should look on a post when it's organic. Here is the engagement graph of a fashion influencer that our tool alerted us to. For her privacy, I'm going to call her Jess. Jess has 230,000 followers. She's been paid by 22 different brands this year via agencies that book her for her apparently high follower number and engagement rate. She charges $1,000 per post. However, 96% of her engagement is fake, produced by a bot farm that charges $2 for 1,000 engagements. That means $960 out of that $1,000 that 22 different brands gave her this year was scammed. Unfortunately, she wasn't the only one. After scanning 10,000 influencers that brands and agencies work with frequently, we identified that more than 25% do, or have at one point, engaged in this type of manipulation. As a marketeer, in real terms, that means roughly 25% of the time, you could be being scammed of up to 95% of your investment. Social Chain is one of the largest social-first marketing agencies in the world. We work with thousands and thousands of influencers every single month across 5 territories. From now on, we will only work with influencers that our tool whitelists as having true engagement. All of the brands we work with will be able to access this tool, screen their own databases, and have access to a blacklist of influencers who heavily manipulate their engagement. Influencer marketing can be tremendously powerful. It's one of the most effective forms of marketing when done correctly. And there are so many creators out there that are playing it fair, producing great content for real engaged audiences. But for those who aren't, they risk ruining the reputation of an industry for everyone else and hurting fledgling businesses in the process. It's time to clean up the industry.